Hey, I'm Sarah Gaither with Carolina Pottery, and today we're going to learn how to make a mesh sunflower. We'll be using this new product, a fabric mesh. We're also going to take just a wire wreath form and some pipe cleaners. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting the mesh into strips. And I've already done that here for you, so you'll get to see a couple of strips. We're going to roll it around, pinch it in the center, and we're going to add a pipe cleaner to it. I've decided for this sunflower to mix yellow and orange mesh together. So I've rolled it around, pinched it in the center, and wired it with my pipe cleaner. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the outside ring, and I'm just going to put these side by side. So I'm going to twist one of my pipe cleaners together. And then I'm going to add this, bending it up so our petals go out. And I'm going to wrap these pipe cleaners around the first and second part of my wire form. This is something one of our ladies makes all the time. We call her the mesh queen. Her name's Sabrina and makes the best mesh projects. So now I've started adding my petals. And I'm just going to continue to work all the way around the wreath. And as you can see here, I've gone ahead and done that. So I've worked all the way around. Don't worry about the frayed edges. We'll trim those off at the end. And I wanted to show you how the back of the wreath works. So you can see here that I've attached it from the top one to the bottom one, twisted those around, and then I've come back in on the second layer and added a pipe cleaner so that we have different tips in the inside. So now we're ready to add our inside of our sunflower. So for this, I'm going to be using burlap. And this is about 6 inches worth of burlap. And I'm going to start, gather it up, make an ugly little knot, and using the tips on the pipe cleaner, I'm going to come to the inside and I'm going to wrap that around the burlap. And then I'm just going to tuck that through this wire form. And now my burlap's held on. And now I'm just going to start working it across the center, attaching it with the different pipe cleaners. So I'm going to roll the edges around, and I'm just going to come to the next set of pipe cleaners, and I'm going to twist it around the burlap. Don't worry yet if you see a little bit of the pipe cleaners. That's okay. We'll hide those at the end. So now I need to come back across. So I'm going to turn my wreath around, and I'm going to overlap my first one, and I'm going to bring that down to the next tips that I have and wrap that around my burlap. So you can see that your parts, your pipe cleaners, end up getting covered up each time you overlap this burlap. So that's why it's okay not to worry about it if you see some of your pipe cleaners. I've also used orange pipe cleaners to make it a little bit easier for you to see what I'm doing. So if you want to use brown pipe cleaners, that might help hide them a little bit too. But don't worry, you'll cover it up with the burlap. So I'm just going to keep going right over until I've attached the entire center of my sunflower. So we're going to keep going back and forth all the way until we get to the other side of our sunflower, and then just tie off the burlap. So once we finish doing that, you can see that we now have a beautiful sunflower. But remember how we talked about some of these fraying edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my scissors and trim them up a little bit. And once you've got them trimmed, they won't fray anymore. Don't worry. And the very last thing, and it's totally up to you, so I would keep trimming around here. But if you want to, you can go on and add your leaves behind there. So you would do that exactly the same way that you did the yellow and orange. You would cut different pieces, roll them together. So then you would go ahead, turn it over, and attach it onto the back of your sunflower. I'm using this one in a brighter green so that you can see better what it looks like. But for this completed one, I decided to use the burlap moss green. But it lets you see how your leaves stand out off of your sunflower. And here we have our beautiful mesh sunflower. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sarah Gaither with Carolina Pottery.